Black power. We are living in the times where we must fight back. We are being attacked on multiple levels, so it's going to take a united effort for all of us to fight back on all of these levels. Hopefully some of you are not making the mistake of thinking you are somehow exempt. This is a group of people who are predators by nature, and they believe everything belongs to them. If you analyze the housing crisis, it was targeted towards mostly the working class and upper middle classes. So if they did it to your parents and grandparents, sooner than later they will be coming after you. First, I want to address a situation where one of our sisters, Queen Okieema, went to a 7-Eleven last week for some ice, and she ended up being grossly violated by an idiot who was put in position there to be a manager, an idiot named Andy. So brothers rallied yesterday. Comrade Dino, who is in relationship with Queen Okieema, Comrade Mac, Comrade Kevin, and Comrade General Jeff from Skid Row, who was doing a lot of work down there on Skid Row, they went to confront Andy. He ran like a little coward. Comrades shut down the store for so long, and then finally the police came. The police, because another sister came who was there the day Andy violated Queen Okieema, and she, shared what she had witnessed. So the police ended up getting Andy's information and numbers to be contacted. I'm including that information in the description. So those of you who can help us make those calls this week, please do so. Also, just stay out of those stores. People who can't respect us don't need to have our business. One brother contacted me last night and stated some of these 7-Elevens are owned by black people. So one or two things must happen. Those blacks need to contact corporate and demand the standards on how black people are treated or raised, including within the non-black owned establishments. Or those black people can come together and start discussing how they can come up with a new brand to compete against 7-Eleven and then take over that market within our communities. Next, I want to speak on the prison strike. First and foremost, I want to shout out my longtime brother JoJo. I've been doing a lot, recognizing, rallying for our brothers and sisters who are incarcerated. I forgot JoJo was in there, so most definitely salute to him. Shout out to his family. Hit me up, I'll most definitely do all I can to support that brother. Last week, I was speaking on how the commissary boycott needed to be included. I was contacted by a member of the Free Alabama movement, and they said the commissary boycott is already in effect. The problem with that is families will not stop sending money. So that is part of what needs to be done. Again, it's a small sacrifice to help bring the walls of these prisons down. I know the next couple months, November and December, is when people really look to send packages and put money on folks' books, but these next couple months can help do some serious damage by abstaining from economically supporting them. So please consider that. Also, this past week it was announced AT&T is looking to buy Time Warner in what is considered a $85 billion deal. But also AT&T is one of the corporations that's been targeted. We also exposed Time Warner earlier this year. Their support of the Clintons. Also, a lot of Time Warner artists were mysteriously killed and taken out over the past year. Prince, Fanny, right before she was killed, had put the rights to Tupac's estate back into a former employee of Time Warner. So we got to continue to dig out and identify all of their businesses and stop supporting them. Also, just lastly, LA Times did finally do an article on the prison strike this week, so it is coming out of mainstream media. So, what's being done is working. Everyone locked up, please continue doing what you're doing, and we will continue to support you. Next, on this selection, because it's not an election, but on this selection, we now have to start moving forward and dealing with the reality that we're about to deal with another Clinton administration. And when I say Hillary or the Clintons, again, they're just the front people for a much bigger entity that is preying upon us and the peoples of the world right now. So I think first and foremost, we need to develop a QUEEN database. All these black people who are rallying and arguing on behalf of the Clintons, the biggest idiots on this planet right now, because the whole world knows that this is an election that everybody needs to abstain from. Even white people are massively rallying against the Republicans and the Democrats. White people are abstaining from participating in this election, so we most definitely need to identify and keep records of the black folks who are coming out in support of their massa right now, because there's some people saying, Clinton's made mistakes back in the 90s and they've changed. No, genocide is not a mistake. Mass gentrification, mass land grabs are not mistakes. Wars of imperialism are not mistakes. And again, their policies have been consistent for 30 years now, so this is not something that they have changed. So we need to stay strong in our efforts to resist whatever wrath they're about to unleash on the people. Some people are saying, okay, vote for the Green Party, but the only time most of us black folks hear about the Green Party is during an election. And every now and then they put a black person on their ticket to try to get us to support them. But again, as we know, these elections are rigged. It's foolishness to participate in them and not look at more realistic ways to build our political power through economics and a movement that can enact political consequences. So that is not the way. And just lastly, on this election, that dude, DeRay McKesson, came out and identified, himself. Last week, it was the other one, Sean King. But now this other person who they have put out as a so-called leader of this current movement, this current resistance, DeRay McKesson, came out and revealed himself. So again, y'all, sometimes it's just beyond obvious. The people who they give platforms, media time to quite often are in cahoots with them. Just briefly on the whole Oregon militia, the Bundy militia being released. Some people are just saying it was white privilege, but it's beyond that. Is that even amongst white ranks right now, they are on the verge of damn near a civil war. And is that they know how to politic with each other. They took up arms. One of their members has become a martyr, and they want blood. So to avoid or temporarily avoid this civil war that is on the verge of breaking out, that was a move they had to make. So again, armed resistance, armed struggle is the answer. Just real quickly on the movie The Birth of a Nation, and some of y'all didn't see this past week, a brother in Delaware identified one of the tricks that was used to try to sabotage this movie. They were telling people the movie was sold out and ended up selling him a ticket to another movie. He snuck into that theater and found it was damn near empty. So that is just one more way in which they have attempted to sabotage this movie. Other people said after they bought their ticket, they saw the title to another movie was on that ticket. So they were giving the money to this movie to other productions. So when white people are going to this length to try to stop you from doing something, that is exactly what you need to be doing. Again, take as many people as you can to see this movie. In some places, it's already out of the theaters. So, if your bootleg man got it, get it, and get it out to as many folks as possible. When it's released, again, get it and get it out to many folks as possible. And just lastly, we are going to be out there in Leimert Park again today. And it's not just for handouts. We are looking for long-term solutions to address the housing issues that are going on, to address a lot of other issues that are going on, including the genocide that is being carried out at the hands of the LAPD, the LA sheriffs, and other private mercenaries. Last week, we got into a heated debate with the Leimert Park Runners Club. I believe it's being headed by a person named DeMille Halliburton. It was a heated, nasty exchange over social media. Some of them said they were going to come out today. At this point, I'm not sure, because DeMille himself blocked some of us on Facebook. He even put a $25 donation on the GoFundMe set up by the Black Dot Empowerment Network, but we rejected it because we saw both his position on our brothers and sisters in the park was not sincere, and also his possible connection to the state, so we had to decline it. Also, in those discussions, the mill and other people basically referring to brothers and sisters in the park as needy. Well, again, we just want to remind everyone these are actual human beings. Some, there are some mental issues going on, some mental health things that need to be addressed, but also people who just lost their homes, people who lost their jobs, people who have had rough, foul lives, who right now, yes, aren't in positions needing assistance as most of us are. Because again, those of us going out there ain't like we got it like that. We just bringing together what we do have and trying to get more support for people who are out there. Also today, they're bringing foul sharpton into the park, so we see this as another possible move on behalf of the city and state to kind of counter what we've been doing, counter what we've been exposing. Very likely he's going to rally people and tell them, how we need to bring in these businesses and we need to clean up ourselves, blah, blah, blah. But we're going to be there and dismiss as the part of the battle is right now controlling the narrative. But our bigger focus right now is trying to get more support and more resolve in this crisis and attacks that are being waged against us. All power to the people.